So hopefully we are live. Let me check if everything is all right. And we'll go on painting. You see these green crystals here? Today I will do the small ones on this guy. So let us have a look here. This is big crystal and this is small crystals, but he has many more. So the technique will be slightly different. Let me check. Am I in a good range if I do this and I paint like this, and I have to zoom in slightly, and so yes, you will be a lot better like this to see the models. Very good. So here is the previous one, like this, pretty strong glow. Now I'm just working on the glow effect on the crystal themselves, and then you see there is a strong base of dark green. It's preparation for the OSL, so the emitted light from the crystals themselves. But first I do the crystals, so I know the intensity, and then I will do the OSL according to the intensity. All right, so I think it's good enough. Yep, let me check if I have a return on the sound. Yeah. And then I will kick off. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Like this. Yeah, all right. And the comments are open. In my last live, I clicked the wrong button. And so here we go. Something pretty with a strong glow, but still vibrant and full of color. Pretty cool. So let's do this guy. That's my palette here. So here is my, well, this is my greenish white, that's the base coat. Then I have the fluorescent yellow, then Escarpena green from Vallejo. Then that's my medium green, and here is the contrast green, and then also my darkest dark green from AK. You see how we're going to do it. We start with this brush here. Let me check, arrange my desk. Okay. So that's good like this. The other day I used the sponge to begin to work on the big crystal, but because look, this is so small. Well, you see here is a bit too small for this. I'm not sure I have any interest. I would have more paint on the sides than on the crystal itself, and so this will be a brush work, and hopefully it's going to go well. Let's start. So here, because there are many crystals, there is a question. Love the green on those blades. Hello, the Colonel Pride. These are crystals, and not blades, but so here I have to pay real attention, because if I do all the crystals to the same level of light, this guy will look like a Christmas tree, and so I have to modulate the intensity, and so I have to choose. That's the most important. First I have to choose the most intense, and I think 1, 2, and 3, these 3 will be the most. First there is a triangle and the head in the middle, and these will are in the shadow, so they will cast a good amount of light. So that's something that is to be considered. And this also at the top. So these 3 will be the strongest. So let's begin. I take my fluorescent paint. It is slightly diluted. Okay. In fact, I will do something of a stippling and trying to leave some in the recesses. Oopla, a hair. Brush hair on here. But in any cases, I can come back later to reassert the highest lights in the recesses. So that is just fine. And on the sides here, so the idea is to have the strongest light in the center, and so that's why I will leave them white. Well, this is a greenish white, it's not a pure white, but because I will have some green beside this color, it will look whiter. If I had some pure white, it will look greenish, as it is supposed to be. So it is a bit slower than the sponge work, of course. But no choice. What matters is the result. And I'm also checking my time to not put the paint where I don't want it to be, and make sure I have a good coverage where I want it to be. Like this, okay. And so I will also do these two here. I will start with them, and then that will be my benchmark, should I say, for the rest. And so it's likely the rest, they won't have that much white showing. So the angle also, I have to consider the main angle to which I see the miniature. So here, I will need some white here. I have covered with the yellow, but it's okay. Here, I will leave it white in here and in there as well. So I'm kind of brushing the paint over it, trying to just kind of a dry brush, although it's not very dry. And try to leave the white in the areas, although I can reassert the white in there afterwards. That's a back and forth from the light to dark, and then I will reassert the light. So here I like it. You see here I still have some white in the middle. That's fair. And the last one of the three, it's the same. It's the same, kind of the same configuration. So this is not very hard. In fact, the preparation was very long and time consuming, but the effect itself is not crazily overwhelming. So that's the good news. And because this is a warp stone, it's a kind of mineral. So it's kind of magic stone that these guys use for their weapons and stuff. And so as a mineral, I take some grittiness. Is that the word? Grittiness, a grit texture, if you wish. You know what? I will do the everything now that I'm the yellow here. But here, for instance, the difference is I won't leave any white. My lightest color will be this yellow. So that's how I will modulate that intensity. And here, I think I hesitated to have, like, for instance, this area here and on the shoulders glowing, because that would be a lot. Well, that can be a lot if everything is the same intensity. And so because I wanted to work on modulation, I took it as a good practice. So here, a good coat of this fluorescent paint is fine. So it will glow less, especially when I cover it later with darker greens. Try to be clean though, because here, let me come back on crew. Yeah. Okay. I think we can already see that this and this, well, especially this one is darker than this. And that will be just going from dark to darker. So let's do everything. Because you see here in the background, I still have 1, 2, 3, well, in total, there are 6 of them. And so I still want to keep the sense of batch painting and not spending too much time on one. Because if I do that, I would be exhausted. And I would see that I still have 5 left. And okay, something like this. Let me wipe here. I don't want any in the recesses. Okay. And also my brush is not the thinnest. And so, of course, I expect to do a few strokes that will be to correct. Oh, here and there, down there. Okay, some of these areas are pretty hard to get to. It's not perfect, it's all right, because this is just how to say that, the first step out of maybe 5. And so for that, what you really need is a solid base coat of the white parts. Otherwise, if your white does not look clean, then the fluo and the green will not look clean either. And so how do you do that? Several coats. 2 is the minimum, 4 is great. Mind you, it's AK Paints, so that's a very solid brand and good coverage and fluidity, viscosity of the paint. Well, not this fluorescent paint. The yellow is Vallejo. Hello, Heaven Dragon. Heavy metal. Well, my style, I would say, is very different from the heavy metal style. Although they had one Necromunda artwork. They had like some robots against, I believe it was a kind of Mal strain Gene Steelers. That was they did armor that was very different from their usual style. But thank you for your kind words. Okay, so I hope you guys can see well. I think, yes, it's pretty clear that these 2 are lighter. And this one I will have to come back to reassert the light. But you see already, yes, the second pass will be pretty good as well. Just on the edges this time. And I might have to take a thinner brush right after this, because in fact this is small and seems obvious. This is a miniature, but I'm afraid with the big brush I would go everywhere. The paint would go everywhere, I mean. And so okay, so I will let that, well, in fact some areas are dried already. Feathering slightly the brush strokes that are too dirty. Those just watching professional painting, we do all the painting for the Warhammer world, and the boxes for miniatures, they are considered some of the best painters. Yes, indeed, indeed. So yes, Heavy Metal is the Games Workshop paint team, and in fact, yes, what they do, I've heard, is very, very hard, because it's a lot of in fact, they have to showcase all the details that Games Workshop have sculpted on the miniatures. And I think there's a big difference from something that is a bit more artistic. So for instance, for me, this area is pretty dark. It doesn't get the attention. Games Workshop will go everywhere and kind of edge highlight and do all the details to show the quality of the sculpt. While I believe in some more artistic paint job, there would be some areas of attention, of focus, and some areas that would be just more blurry to kind of guide the eyes. Okay, so I think really that's pretty cool. This is all right. We have something here and there. Oh, that's too much on the brush. So here I am doing a second pass on some areas I want slightly darker. It's all about the modulation, the intensity of the glow, so that I avoid this Christmas tree effect. You see here, jingle bells, jingle bells. It's all right, but I really want to avoid something like this and just have something just more well defined for the eyes, really guide the attention here. Here we go. So, and the second steps will be a lot scarier. Not the second one, but the next. The next is always scary. Oh, it's funny here, because it's about gouging what you need, and a wrong evaluation of the intensity or whatever will just mean that you will have to go back again. Okay, so here I think it's pretty fair, and here I think it's pretty clear that this is lighter than the rest, so I like it. Here my objective is, I don't know, because in fact one big crystal is easier than many small crystals. So for the last one, this took me, well, about 50 minutes per crystal. But this, I don't think it's, although it's smaller, well, let's see how much I can do in 50 minutes, an hour maximum. Because between the white and the fluo yellow, the difference is not super stark, but you see that will be my progression here. Opa, here we go. Now from now, that's something like this. So now I'm about to do this paint, and then this is a lot darker, and so that will bring the contrast and the vibrancy. Okay, so let me take my, oh yeah, this rosemary just to be more precise and try to not ruin everything. So I will have a good amount of dilution, good amount of paint on the brush, and good dilution. You see, this is pretty transparent. I don't want to be too aggressive. Let's start with these guys. Oh, wait. Let me check. Let me check. I want to be efficient, but also avoid too much back and forth. Let me think. I'm considering a dry brush, which would replace the sponge with a brush like this, for instance, and just go so I get the center. Otherwise, I have to really pay a lot of attention to get the darker paint just on the edges. Well, let's try again. I need a thicker consistency. If it's too thin, then it will run into the recesses. And now I'm looking for, on the edges, I'm looking for an opaque coat, because I will go darker in there anyways. And you see, as I add some dark on the edges, the middle just seems to glow harder. You know what? I will try the dry brush. I feel it will make me gain a lot of time, even up to a pretty dark color. I wish I had a brush that was smaller than this. But you know what? Just let's try. Loading the brush and then offloading now. Can be pretty wet dry brush, it's all right. But this here I have to be pretty precise. Let me check. Yeah, it's working. And this is all right because it's not too dark, but it will also give me a map of the edges. Let's try this. And I'm trying to not have too much on the armor itself. I will do the OSL later. It's pretty weak. It's pretty weak. Oh, maybe let me reload the paint on the brush. And again, yeah, here I have a good amount. Like this. Okay, let's do it again. Yes, not very successful. It's mitigated effect, but I think still I have something. I will go straight to the next step. I think it still has affected enough. Okay, let me clean slightly the brush so that it's ready for another, although I don't think I'm going to use it again. Yeah, getting rid of the paints as long as it is still wet. Let me have a look. Yeah, that's what we have now. I'll go with the something here. Okay, fine brush, and I go with my medium green. That will be well diluted, something like this. And I will start by doing it on the edges here. Yeah, okay. Kind of stippling on the edges here, trying not to get too much in the recesses. And I will focus on these crystals. This particular crystal on his head. I don't think I can do all of them at the same time. And so just like I said, a big crystal is the same as a small crystal in terms of work. And so here, many small crystals looks the same as one big crystal in terms of work, but really it's not. It's not at all. So now I'm just glazing. Whoops. Yes, you have seen here the consistency of the paint. And in fact, I think that here the very top should be darker. So I got a good framing here of the light in the center. Let me glaze again. It is not a glaze consistency, so it's dangerous. The top as well. Well, you know what? The top, I have to restart again. I need a good transition. So frame it like this, and there's something I really dislike here. Let me see if I can change it now. Yeah. Okay, I wait for it to dry. Then I will go over it again. I have to always keep in mind that I want the center to be the lightest. Now it's a bit extreme, but I will go back with the fluorescent yellow. Oops, sorry. Just let me reload. So that's the paint, fluorescent yellow from Vallejo. Okay. Here we go. Very diluted. And that's a very good paint to also transition, get the smooth transition, because the fluorescent paint is very translucent. So I'm not very worried about smooth transitions. In fact, I also get it on the edges here. You see how it reinforces everything. Here, that's perfect. On the top as well. So I don't need to go back to the white necessarily to, you see here like this, get a good transition thanks to the this fluorescent yellow. So here's the same, right? I don't like the structure. I will get back with the white to have the light in the very center and not on the edge. So here in the center of this one here. Yeah. And darken this area at the top. Yes. Whoops, have too much water here on the brush. Okay, something maybe like this. Okay, now I will darken again with the scorpion green. So it's written Escorpena, but I believe it's a mistranslation. Hello, Blood God Sans. How are you doing? Yeah. Okay. So now back to the darker lights. Okay. So now it's the contrast green here. It's very strong, so I have to dilute it well. But it's very good because with the same paint, I can get a lot of gradient. Yeah, the front is already a bit better than the back, which is normal. Yep, right, that's better. Oops. Okay, so okay, because I will come back to correct the light in the recesses. So we need it lighter in the recesses because it is emitting light, and so it's glowing from its core. Okay, more. So here in my configuration, it's slightly harder to get into the recesses. To get on the edges rather than it is to get into the recesses. So that's why I do a dirtier job to place my shadows, and then the job to put back the light will be easier. And so here, that's why I'm doing such a dirty job. It's because I know that I will have to go over it again anyway. Okay, I think for the shadows, that may be it. Before I go to my darkest, the very darkest paint, so this will need a good amount of dilution. This is my dark green, and it has a hint of blue, so that's pretty nice to enrich the whole thing. Just on the very edges. And once I'm happy with my shadows, I come back in with my lighter greens to kind of reinforce where I have lost the vibrancy. But here, yes, the shadows are harder to place than the lights. Okay, I think that's enough. Yes, this very dark green is also a good choice to glaze down some of this. So here you see, essentially we have it, but I just lost my middle tone, while here it's a bit more complete. But I'll get back to it, so that's not a problem. Okay, so now I believe my shadows are pretty well set in. And I will go back with, let's try for this scorpion green, which is the apple green. In fact, you call it however you want. You see, I kind of glazing back on the dark green, but only in the recesses. But here, why is it easier to go in the recesses? If I have a consistency that is more watery, it will flow into the recesses. So that's why it's a lot easier. So for instance, here, something like this. The same here, that's where I have the most work. The difference between the dark areas and the light areas is that this is my highest light in dark areas, while it is far from being the lightest in the darker areas. Okay, let me have more water. I want the paint to pool in those recesses now, so that will make my life easier. So for instance, here, if I can have it pulled there inside, something like this, and like that. Here as well. Now just redoing the transitions. Oops, sorry, in the frame like this. On the very left side, I think I need one here. Yep. Yeah, and so with this back and forth, I can really start to see better the map, the layout of the land. I should say like this here. So what needs more light and what needs more shadows. Okay. And really it's about trusting the process as well. But I think for the front, I think it's pretty good. I don't know what you think, guys. Can tell me. Oh, it's shabby. It's so bad. I think it's fair enough, you know. You don't need to go, well, I don't think I have to go to perfection because it's a mineral. It's fluctuating with energy, pulsating, vibrating. And so something that is more or less, it's more like the intention and the general effect rather than the precision of each brush stroke, I believe. This is pretty interesting. Let me check here. Okay, okay. As long as my edges are very dark, the rest is fine enough. I like this fluorescent yellow just on top of the green. Really good transition. Let me check. This may be a bit too much because I want a good frame here. Yeah, something like this. So I have a good frame and the light in the center, like this. This is interesting enough, really. So yeah, let's check. Let's finish the back. I believe I will glaze in some of that medium green here, just here on top, like this, to keep a good frame. Yeah, and at the bottom here as well. Yeah. Or something like this. And then I will go back in with the white. So just let me feather something here. Yeah, okay. So calling the yellow to just remake this transition here. Had a bit of a stock line. Again, more. Because this yellow, fluorescent yellow, is very weak. I want to cover a darker color, but in good amount. Like this, let's try. It's too much, but I have to try. I think we have an interesting effect here. Okay, it's fair enough. Now again, I will glaze in some of my contrast green. So I'm just adjusting between the two. Okay, something like this. And at the back, on this here at the bottom to be darker. Something like this maybe. And now feathering the difference a bit. Yeah, something like this. Okay, let's get back in. It's time for the last dot of white in the middle. So this has to be very diluted. And let's try here. Yeah, it's not the greatest, but I have to try a few spots. I think I went a bit dark here, which is all right. Oh yes, here as well. Very center. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. I think it's fair enough here in the front. And now, what about the back? Still needs a bit of work, but we have a very different effect. But it's fine too. Yes, and now I think it's wide enough. I will come back with the fluorescent yellow to give it back some transition. I wait for it to dry. The first thing. And when it's drying, I will try something here. Cool. You know what? Yes. Okay. Yellow here. Fluorescent yellow. Okay. Now again, reworking the feathering into, well, I mean the blending into the darker lights with a very faint green. Blowing on the model before so that make sure it's dry. I don't want to move the paints now. Oof. Taking my darkest green, I don't know if you can see here. I have to dilute a lot more. When it's very diluted, has beautiful tint as well. Yeah, you see that? Now let's try here. Okay. Again, well diluted. And just repeating the process now that it is dry. Second pass. So this definitely needs some toning down here and there. So very, very diluted dark green will just do that for me. Yeah, something like this. Okay. I think it's pretty fine. Can guys tell me in the comment? Oh no, it's garbage. You're not far from truth, but I think it still has some coolness. Okay, let me check. Because the difficulty I'm having is that I have this big edge here, in the middle of the miniature. I want to mark it, I want to use it, but it's not, because it's in the middle. Also, it should be lighter, so it's very hard to modulate that and make it work as a coherent area. I think I'm on a right track here. I just need more work. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so here now I have a better, so in fact this should be a lot lighter. My edge, you see, is a lot thinner, and with this thin edge, if you've made it to the live up to now, that's the most beneficial to you if you're really wanting to learn. Thinner edge is really doing it for me, and I'm kind of changing the shape of the crystal with my lights and shadows. But here I have very thin, very dark edge, which is very nice for what I want. And this is just about the back and forth. And so now okay, so I will go up to the white in this area, and then I will feather the edges with some of that fluorescent yellow. Something like this. So now I wait for it to dry. That's how I have my lightest here. I still have some modularity inside here. Yeah, okay. Really, that's the strongest here. For the face, it was a bit easier than the back. Now to the yellow to feather it back and to enhance the transition between the light areas and the dark areas. Let me dry it first. Need it to be very dry. Okay, something like this. And also I illuminating my edge as well with that yellow, because it's a bit stark. Even though it's in the center, I want it darker. Well, I mean, I want it darker because it's an edge, but because it's a center, I may have to highlight it and not get as dark as what I started with. Okay, let me continue. I will use that light green. I have that the Escarpana green, the apple green. Try to come here and highlight this. And the shape is just transforming with each pass, if you have followed the live. And then back and forth, until I'm happy with the shape of the crystal. And here, in fact, so I tried darker shape with a line here, ridge. Okay, I can feather slightly and get back to this here. Yeah, you see that? I still get the line, but it's very faint. I think it's pretty cool. And now I will, again, white in the, okay, let me do something. So very, very diluted green. I will go on this line here. Oops, don't have paint on it. Yeah, something like this. So I have my line that is dark, but not as dark as it used to be. And so it works better. Oof. I think we're getting somewhere. Oops. Coming back with some yellow, because here transition is a bit too drastic. And so this fluorescent yellow will help me be very gentle. Yeah, something like this. Okay, now back to the white in the very center. Let me, oh, again, some very diluted green just to redo the edges. Seems a bit dirty here. And there. Oh yes, you can see. Okay, very good. Whoops. Here I've gone in the recess. Yeah. Okay. So I'm taking my time. I think I'm almost there, almost there. If I can successfully do here, I'm going to frame the top and the bottom. And if I can be successful with that, oh, there's too much. Okay, back to the yellow, because I went a bit too much. Well, in fact, I had a bit too much water in the brush with the dark green, so that's why it went a bit too far. But I welcome it, it's okay. Some more fluorescent yellow, and that will cover it, and with a nice transition here and there. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's the front, the top, and you see how I framed everything. That's why here there is a dark line in the middle, and to up here, the back. Let me check. Okay. Something like this. Patience. Patience here is key. I'm about to lose my patience, to be honest. So here's a struggle. Some mind. How to say? No. Okay, I let it dry. Because the fluorescent paint kind of is a film when it dries, and if it's not dry yet, you just remove the film and you have a kind of a dirty texture, especially when you airbrush. But guys, if you are enjoying the experience, so you see I'm doing this glowing warpstone on this Skaven stone fence. So I have one here, I've already done it in the previous live, and here that's the other one. But in fact, these bigger stones, they are easier to work than the very small ones. And so if you're enjoying the experience, you are very welcome to subscribe, to ride along. And the way I see it, consider my channel on the long term. So especially if you're willing to stay with me for the long term, I really invite you to subscribe for more of this content, whether it is live, shorts, or long form videos where I also show dioramas and stuff. Very welcome to subscribe. I think I have to go to the white now and just have a dot here and there in the very center. Something like this. I'm adding a bit more because I'm already planning to have more of that yellow, the last pass of this fluorescent yellow to feather back this white. Let me blow on it so that it dries well. Yes, the front was easy. The back was a real challenge because of this line here. You see this dark line here because it's an how do you call that, an edge of the stone, and so I want to try to still have it darker to kind of have the consistency that the inside, the closer to the core of the stone, the more glow you have, just like a hot lava. But of course it has been a challenge. Though something very important to remember, it depends if you want to paint things fast or to get better. And here, for me, it's really about getting better. And so trying things I have never done before. So it can be a bit clumsy and everything. But that's how you get better. Because I had never done it before. Well, I have done like the crystals before, but here trying to really go exactly where I want to. I think it's the risk, you know, when you have something that already looks fine enough and you want to go to the next step, you take the risk to destroy what you have done and end up with worse than where you started. So that's the bad news, but I'm sure if you paint yourself, you know it just too well. Okay. I'll wait for it to dry again. I think that will be my last pass of the yellow, just at the edge here and there. Okay. Should be dry. Yeah, something like this. Okay, let me check. Okay, I think that will be it for this stone here. That was a lot of work because it is so small. I cannot use a dry brush or a sponge. So these here, the big crystals, they were so much easier, just so much easier. These big ones compared to this here, the small stone. And I have so many here, so many. So good luck to me, really for the what is coming next. If you guys enjoyed the live, you can subscribe, especially if you plan to stick with the channel for on the long run. Kind of breaks my heart when I see people subscribing and then unsubscribing. Makes me wonder what I've done wrong. And so please just don't do that. If you not sure you want to subscribe yet, take your time. It's okay. You can have a look at the other shorts or other lives I've done, or also all the other long form videos I have on my channel. And only when you're ready, you of course, then you will be very welcome to subscribe. So thank you very much for tuning in and see you next time, guys.